Hi everybody and welcome to Golden Hour. Have you ever felt like a fraud? Well, today I'm going to be talking about the imposter syndrome, so stick around. Have you ever felt like a fraud despite the fact that you have experience? Well, then you might be suffering from the imposter syndrome. In this episode, you'll find out 5 patterns in people who have imposter syndrome. Stick around to the end of the video in which you'll find out 5 strategies I use to overcome the imposter syndrome. The imposter syndrome is a belief that you're incompetent and inadequate despite the evidence that you have the skills and the knowledge and the expertise. It's that nagging feeling that I'm going to do this one wrong thing and they're going to find out that I'm a fraud. And people that suffer from the imposter syndrome believe that their successes are a result of serendipity, that they're accidents, that they don't really deserve that success, and that they're going to be found out. According to a review article published in the International Journal of Behavioral Sciences, 70% of people have suffered from the imposter syndrome at one point in time in their lives. The imposter syndrome was first identified by 2 psychologists in 1978, Pauline Rose Clance and Suzanne Imes. They first thought that this syndrome was unique to women, high-achieving women. It was later discovered that the syndrome affects both men and women in all walks of life and all professions. Valerie Young, an expert in the field, came up with some patterns that pointed to 5 different personality types, and they are as follows: perfectionists, experts, natural geniuses, soloists, and the Superman, Superwoman. So you might fit into one of these categories. Now, the perfectionist is that person that has high expectations of themselves, so much so that they can achieve 99% of their goals, and the fact that they missed 1% makes them feel like a failure. So any simple mistake they make, they feel like they're a fraud. When I was in first grade, there was a young boy, I won't mention his name, and one day in class, he dropped his pencil on the ground. As we both went to pick it up, his hand was shaking, and I asked him what was wrong, and he said, "I can't make a mistake." He was a straight A student, and the pressure on him was high to achieve, and he felt that if he made one mistake, he was a failure, he was a fraud. So this affected a 6-year-old boy. It's widespread. The second type is the expert. This is the person that has to know every single thing about a field before they will move on to a project. This is the person that reads a job description and won't apply to the job unless they check off all the boxes. That is me. Despite how many degrees I have and whatever experience I have, if the ad says one little thing that I'm unsure of, that I can't do, I won't apply. Where I know people who don't know half of what I know, and they'll go out there and they'll apply. So the expert will keep studying, keep taking classes, keep getting degrees, keep getting certificates, and they never feel like they know enough to go out there and do it. The next type is the natural genius. This is the person that is just naturally smart. They may be the person that everyone in the family said, "You're the smartest kid in the family." They might have been a straight A student. And because of it, things come easy to this person. They can grasp any skill relatively quickly. This type of person, things come very easy to. They master things very quickly. And then when they come up to a skill that they can't master quickly, that it takes effort, they feel like a failure. Whereas they might just be very naturally smart and maybe they're studying for something that really is challenging, but they think everybody else can do it and they're just dumb and all the other stuff that they achieved was just easy. The next type is called the soloist. Now this is the person that needs to achieve things on their own. They have problems delegating. They don't like other people to help them with projects. They need to do the whole thing by themselves in order to prove their worth and that they're not a fraud. And I think we've all worked with people like that weren't team players, that just had to take over the whole project. They're suffering from the imposter syndrome and they need that to prove themselves. The next group are the super people, Superman and Superwoman. These people work very hard to prove they're not imposters. They have to succeed in all aspects of their life, work, family, creative. They have a need to succeed and they are stressed when they're not accomplishing something. You might know them as a workaholic. It's not so much that they love their work, it's that they love the accolades they get for all the work they do. It proves they're not an imposter. So why do people develop the imposter syndrome? Well, some of it's from childhood. You might remember something your parents said to you or something that happened to you in school and it follows through with you. It may be something that happened to you on the job or in an environment where you felt you didn't belong. For example, when I was a teenager, I entered a modeling pageant. I made it to the semifinals. We were coming on the time where we were getting our outfits ready to go to the finals, and my mom looked at me and said, "Don't bother, you're not going to win." And it crushed me, and instead of fighting back, I pulled out of it. Years later, she explained to me that it was her fear that I would succeed and leave her that made her say that terrible thing to me. I don't think she realized how much that hurt. But that stopped me from ever trying to model again. And then in my 50s, I created something that I thought was amazing and I thought I was going to get such praise, and it didn't go that way. I got praise from some people. From the people I wanted it most from, I didn't get it. And I went home and cried, and I never ever did a project like that again. It made me feel worthless. It made me feel like I'd been an imposter. So it's what happens in our childhood, it's what happens in the work environment, and then we internalize it and we start to feel that we're a fraud. What I just explained about that feeling about knocking it out of the ballpark and making this thing that was so amazing and then having someone tell you it wasn't so amazing, I think Tina Fey, in a quote I'm going to read for you, sums it up pretty nicely. She says, "The beauty of the imposter syndrome is you vacillate between extreme egomania and a complete feeling of, I'm a fraud, oh God, they're on to me, I'm a fraud." There's a lot of articles and a lot of YouTube shows on the imposter syndrome and how to overcome it. And if you want a take on that from a psychologist or a psychotherapist, then you can Google that and you can find that. I wanted to talk more about how I deal with it since I experience it, and these are some of the things I do to combat it, but it creeps up every now and again. The first thing I do is I revisit my accomplishments, and Facebook Memories has a really wonderful way of bringing those back to me, because they'll come and I'll go, oh wow, I did that, or I did that. And these things validate me. I look at my degrees, they give me some validation, but really it's when I look back at the places that I've interned, the places that I've gotten to work over the years, that I say, hey, yeah, I really do know how to do that. These things will squash that feeling of inadequacy and make you realize you're not an imposter. So I suggest, I don't do this, but I probably should, is make a list of all the things you've accomplished over your life, and know that you're not done accomplishing them. You have more things that you're going to accomplish. And through the different times in your life, the things you want to accomplish will change. The second thing is, although you want to look to others to validate you, and I don't think that's a bad thing, but don't take what one or two people say as the gospel. There's hundreds and thousands and millions and bazillions of people out there that could have a different opinion of your work, that could have a different opinion of you. And you just need to find those people that value you and value your work. But most importantly, how do you feel about what you accomplished? So don't look so much to the outside for validation. Look more inward, but also look for people that do value you, that do value your work. Don't rely too much on the people that don't, because the thing you have to realize is this is all subjective. What one person might think was good work, another person might not like the same work. And you may be even thankful that they don't like your work after you see the work they did like. So put it in perspective. People with the imposter syndrome seem to think that everybody else achieves everything so easily. It's kind of like that highlight reel on Facebook where everyone's having a wonderful time. Everyone's getting opportunities and everyone's getting job opportunities and romantic opportunities, and you feel that they're not coming your way. But again, you're seeing their highlight reel. You're not seeing the struggles they went to. So you need to realize that they've struggled to get where they were. Now, if you're in the entertainment field, the arts in any way, and you see someone that was a quote unquote instant success, know that they've been working at that craft for probably 10 or 15 years before you even heard of them. So realize it's not that easy for anyone and that your struggle's not alone. The next thing is, don't blow your mistakes out of proportion. One mistake doesn't make the whole thing you did void or negative. It's one mistake, and you need to put it in perspective. And the last thing is positive self-talk. Positive affirmations really work. If you're heading into an interview or you're heading into a first date, going there going, I'm never going to get this job, I'm a fraud, or this guy's never going to like me, I'm this, or this woman isn't going to like me because I don't make enough money. Go there, realize what you have to offer, and keep stressing your achievements to yourself, because sometimes we're harder on ourselves than other people are. I also want to add there's motherhood imposter syndrome, which I believe will probably extend to fatherhood imposter syndrome, and it's the feeling that you weren't a good parent, you weren't a good mother. And I say to you, take a look at your child, at your photos of your child. Look at the places you took them. Look at the smiles on their face. Take a look at them now. Are they accomplished? Are they well adjusted? And know that you probably did your best. If you're questioning it, then you probably are a good parent who did your best. Finally, I want to tell you a little bit about Maya Angelou, the famous poet, who had the imposter syndrome. And after she wrote 11 books, after every book after that, she said the following: uh-oh, they're gonna find out now. I've run a game on everyone. So someone as successful as that felt like a fraud. So go out there, don't feel like a fraud, remember your skills, have a wonderful week, and go get your shine on.